Welcome to Heroes First Podcast, sponsored by Fund the First, the nation's leading verified crowdfunding platform for first responders, military, and medical professionals. And now, your host, broadcasting from Long Island, New York, Robert Garland.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining this week's episode of Heroes First Podcast. Each week, you will hear from a new guest that portrays excellence in the first responder, military, or medical professional field. If you are an active or retired member of the service, or even a family member or a friend, then this show is for you. Our podcast is also proud partners with the Everyday Heroes Podcast Network. I would like to now present to you our guest from veteran-owned businesses for episode 13 of this podcast series, Hunt to Eat and Heroes Harvest. Tony and Mitch, it's great to have you on the show. How are you guys?
Good. Thanks, Robert.
Hey, doing great. Thanks for having us, Robert.
Hey, no, always a pleasure. And I'll jump right into how we initially connected with each other. So, Tony, I know you launched this campaign on Fund the First, and I want to bring it up right away. I want to talk about it because you're really trying to get some help to the veterans outdoors, right? And get them outdoors, do a lot of hunting. So why don't you, I'm going to show the campaign while you're talking, but why don't you tell us about Hunt to Eat and what you're trying to do over there, and tell us about the campaign.
Yeah, sure. So just backing up a little bit, I found out about Fund the First through a good friend of mine, former Baltimore Police Department officer that was retired because of a injury in the line of duty. And so we kicked off the this veterans camp, or the veterans program, last fall. And really, when we started this, I didn't really have a direction that I wanted it to go. And so the owner of Hunt to Eat asked me if I'd be interested in starting up a veterans program. I was, yeah, sure. What do you want it to look like? And he said, I don't know, man. You're the veteran. Figure it out. So we've been kind of building this airplane as it's flying, so to speak. And so we've got our first hunt coming up in our first group camp, or I guess a camp coming up in Idaho. It's a spring turkey hunt, and we've got I think about 10 veterans coming and about five mentors that are helping out. And so the campaign on Fund the First is really to help fund getting the veterans there. And so every bit of money that we raise on here is going specifically to these camps. And if it doesn't get used up in the first spring camp, then it's going to get used in follow-on camps. But so it's really focused on getting veterans outdoors and building that community of like local veterans. And I guess just building the community. Yeah.
No, it's great. I mean, I love this campaign that you put up here, and you utilize a different type of campaign option that we have on the platform, which is a business venture. So if for everyone that's watching and listening, if you want to visit the website, we have it shared up on the screen right now. And what Tony's done with Hunt to Eat is he's created campaign tiers. So the first tier is the most expensive one, which is donating $1,000, but that's a big game hunt. And that's for, what do you got over here, for moose? I'd be scared shitless to hunt the moose, to be honest.
Well, that's just what it's called. I guess we can hunt whatever big game we're at. Yeah, whatever.
So that's that's great. I mean, you have people, you got $1,700 raised of a $5,000 goal, which is excellent. Only 6 donors. You got 11 shares. It's been running for a little bit, but it's still great. It's more money than you expected, I'm sure. And you got caribou, you got whitetail, which is a hat and a sweatshirt. And I don't know if you've seen this, but we have these little options on the platform where you see how I'm highlighting one of the shields.
Yeah.
Donate at least 500. So this person, Sean, that donated to your campaign, he has donated $500 and he signed up, which means he created a user profile on the platform. So it gives him a little shield if he hits the $500 mark. This person hit 100, but they've actually done 250, but they have the bronze shield. So it's pretty unique. It's almost like a little bit of a social network. So It's nice. But I'm going to close this out. This is great. We'll come back to it in a little while. We'll talk about the website. I'm sure we'll show your website and everything back at Hunt to Eat. But let me jump over to Mitch. So Mitch, why don't you tell us about what you're doing at Heroes Harvest? I know we've connected on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
But let's hear about that. Man,
how much time do you got, Robert?
I got all night. The kids are going to bed. My wife's got the kids in the tub. They're going to bed soon. So
Awesome. Yeah. So a little background on me. I'm actually a 6th generation military member. and both my parents were obviously in the military, but they were really into the outdoors. They loved hitting the lake and doing a lot of fishing. So I kind of grew up in the outdoors. And then I picked up a rifle and I never looked back. I think I threw my fishing pole in the lake and just started hitting the ridges and doing a lot of hunting. You know, obviously I took that 20-year break in the military, but I still, you know, worked on a lot of my outdoor skills and everything. But with Heroes Harvest, how it all came about was I realized after 11 deployments, you know, I probably wasn't a really good person. You know, the stress of being deployed, the stress of coming home. So I was a horrible father. I was a horrible husband. I was probably an awesome soldier because I spent all my time at work. You know, but there was probably aspects of being a leader that I probably wasn't good at either. And looking back, I realized I was like, man, I was really at my home, at my place when I was in the outdoors. So a few years ago, I took leave and I went back to Colorado where my family settled and spent 26 days up in the mountains, kind of doing just kind of a reset for my mind. And I chased elk and bear and turkey and everything. And I lived off the land that I could, and just kind of, you know, found myself again. And then thinking about that, and you know, with the Accelerating Veterans Recovery's Outdoor Act going through Congress and everything, where that tasked the Veteran Affairs to establish a task force on outdoor recreation for veterans, and to use public lands for treatment and medical therapy for veterans. I thought, well, why can't we do that too with some type of nonprofit? And that's kind of how Heroes Harvest grew. So we actually we have a two-prong approach. We do our outdoor events for all. Doesn't matter if you're a veteran, you can be an active duty, you can still be on active duty, you can be a Gold Star family member, you can be a family member of a service member. But you know, if you just need that reset and you just need to get out in the outdoors, we have several events throughout the years. We have several getting planned that we're going to get, you know, guys and gals out there. The second thing that we do at Heroes Harvest that we're working on is we're going to be facilitating an entry-level guide course. And that's going to be in conjunction with the outfitter that I actually work for in Wyoming and the Wyoming Outfitters and Guides Association. And that's going to be for transitioning military members who want a career in the outdoor industry. So we have a committee right now with the nonprofit that's putting together the coursework and everything, so we can get that certified through the state of Wyoming, and we get that certified through the Veterans Administration, so a GI Bill can be used for these transitioning service members. And so that's our two main initiatives, I guess, right now. And then how I got linked up with Hunt to Eat and Tony was, you know, I saw a post when Tony got selected for that position, and I kind of read his bio, and I was like, man, this would be a good dude to work with. So I just sent him a message, and we've been talking ever since and everything. We've been collaborating with all kinds of stuff and putting together a lot of cool stuff.
That's great. Absolutely excellent. Excellent mission. So do you guys have a website? Let's check out the website.
We do. So the Heroes Harvest is just heroesharvest.org.
Heroes Harvest. Oh, my spelling is horrible tonight. heroesharvest.org. Okay. Why is it saying that it can't be reached?
Uh-oh.
Could be my browser.
If I can drop it in the chat for you.
Yeah, try to drop it in. It's not opening. We can come back to it. It's no big deal. But I mean, you with Mitch and Tony, you guys have a great connection. I mean, you were both in the Army, right? But you guys didn't serve at the same time.
No, we didn't. So Mitch and I actually connected last fall. We were both at Fort Bragg for most of our adult lives, I think. But we never connected until last fall. When we started up this program, Mitch was one of the first ones that reached out to me. He was just retiring, and he was sharing with me what he had been doing with veterans, and since he had retired, and so we started. We just kind of started helping each other out because we're kind of approaching it from a couple different angles here. So we're kind of complimenting the other. So the hunt to eat business, or the hunt to eat vet camps, we're taking a lot of veterans that are maybe have hunted before, have been in the outdoors a little bit, but maybe not a lot, and need a little mentorship, or, just a little community. So like the Idaho camp, we've got like 5 or 10, or I think 10 people coming, and all of them are like pretty new to turkey hunting. So again, we've got a couple corporate sponsors that are helping supply some gear, and then Mitch is taking out smaller groups just out on hunts to again, just to get veterans outdoors. And like Mitch mentioned the my mind's gone blank. Help me out, Mitch. The outdoor act.
The Accelerating Veterans Recovery.
Yes. Thank you.
The mouthful.
So he mentioned that because it's been proven that getting outdoors helps alleviate some of the symptoms of whether it's PTSD or some sort of mental health issues, or even physical pain. Just getting outdoors has been proven to help alleviate some of that.
Now, how's the weather where you guys do the hunting? I've seen, and I'm obsessed with TikTok. Late at night, I'll sit on TikTok until 3 a.m, and I got to wake up at 4. And it's just like, oh my God. But I'll see all these videos about guys sitting up in the mountains, practically half naked, but do it and it relieves your stress. And I'm not doing that. But how's the weather? Is it freezing? I mean, what's the best for the hunting?
Obviously Colorado, if you've never been there, anybody that's from Colorado or, has lived there and been there, they know like mountain weather can change like quick. Just like this last year I was guiding some elk hunts, and, we had 70-degree weather, and then the next day, or the next 3 days, I think it was like 20 degrees, and we had, feet of snow. And then after that, it was 70 degrees again, and everything melted. It's just mountain weather. So yeah, it's great, but you got to be on your toes. You definitely have to pack for all seasons when you go up in there, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. My brother, he moved out to Colorado, so he's out there. He moved maybe 5-6 years ago. He's in Boulder.
Awesome. Okay,
so
Boulder.
Right out there. Yeah, he's right out there. He's in a sales position. Fortunately, he didn't take the police position like I did. But but that's another thing. Do you guys take cops? Do you trust us to come hunting with you guys? I don't know.
I've seen a few. I don't think I trust with firearms, man.
I don't know. There's a lot of videos out there on YouTube and stuff of these cops. I don't know.
Yeah, there is. I got a lot of guys that I work with. They're former military, and they're always. I got one guy in my office. He runs the sniper team for the NYPD.
Right.
So, really good guy, and he's always talking about it. He's like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. And actually, Tony, I mentioned your company. I said, why don't you go out to Hunt to Eat and do some shooting with them and hunt some animals? So I don't know, maybe he'll do it. He's a good guy. He's big time buff. I'm sure you've heard of that.
We're always, we're Heroes Harvest too, and I know Tony's, with Hunt to Eat, they're always looking for ambassadors and everything.
Yeah.
But that's one thing like we're trying to put together this fall is like a long range shooting clinic with some predator hunting. So yeah, he'd probably, if he runs a sniper team, he'd probably be perfect for something like that.
Yeah, I'll talk to him about it. I'll have him reach out to the both of you, because it might be a really nice connection. And he served overseas as well. Really good guy. Me and him, we worked in narcotics for 6 years together. So really, really good guy.
Awesome.
But he's super buff, super buffy. Everything's either police or military. That's all he knows. It's good. It's really good. So let's get back to both of you guys' military careers for a moment. So I'll go to you first, Tony. So Tony, when did you start in the military? How much time did you serve?
Geez, so the military is something I've wanted to do since like my earliest memories. So my grandfather was in World War II. My dad had a few brothers, like one was in the Navy, one was in the Army, one was in the Marine Corps, and I had a couple cousins in the Navy and the Air Force. So it was kind of in my blood. So 17, I graduated when I was 17 and went right in the Army at 17. And I was in for about 10 years. I got out and went to school. So I started out in the 3rd Infantry Division over in Germany. Spent a good bit of time in the 82nd Airborne at Fort Bragg. Did a little bit of drill sergeant time down at Fort Jackson. Got out and went to school, and actually got out and went to school for aviation. And then when I was finishing that up, September 11th happened. And it was like, well, and the bottom fell out of the aviation industry. And so I screwed around for a couple of years and like, yeah, this isn't what I want to do the rest of my life. I had a little remodeling business, but I was, working my ass off and not making shit for money. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go back in the military. And so I went back in 2004, went through the Special Forces qualification course, and then spent the rest of my time on a Special Forces A team, first as a weapons sergeant, and then went to an intel school. So I was the intel guy on the team. And and then my last deployment was in 2015. And then in early 2017, I actually moved to New York for a blonde after was actually doing some consulting through IBM, but with NYPD. I was working with NYPD there for about 3 years.
So this was recent. Oh wow.
Yeah. Okay. So I just left there maybe a year and a half ago.
Oh wow. I would have said it. I'm surprised that we didn't come across each other, but there's so many people.
Yeah. But I was all over the place. I worked a lot with Real Time Crime Center.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't want PP, but I got out, worked with financial crimes and the gang units and counterterrorism and various narcotics and gang units all over the city.
So you were there. You know what? Maybe we did cross paths momentarily, because from 2017 to the end of 2018, I was in the gang unit, and I ran a really big wire case. So the wire investigation consisted of New York, Connecticut, Georgia, Florida, a bit of Puerto Rico, and we had 32 subjects that we arrested in one night. And it was a year-long wiretap investigation. And it was all gangs. It was money laundering. It was a casino tap. Yeah, I'll find the link at the end of the show and I'll post it in the chat for you guys to see.
Okay.
Yeah. It was an exciting time. Definitely an exciting case. But I remember there were guys from all over the country there that day. And I was just like, okay, I don't know, Tony, maybe you were there. I don't know. But the day of the takedown, it was very overwhelming because I'm in charge. And I was in charge of 350 cops, detectives that were there.
Yeah.
And, executing all these search warrants at the touch of a button saying go, and it's a little wild. And I'm sure you guys know busting down doors is, your heart rate goes through the roof,
Yeah. Kind of one of those surreal moments, right? Where you're sitting there like, how the hell did I get here running this kind of operation?
Exactly.
What the hell?
It was the case, just really quick. The case originated from a weed buy. We bought weed from some kid on the streets. He gave us intel to a cocaine dealer. The cocaine dealer gave us intel to a casino, basically in Lower Manhattan, and then which stemmed out to this whole network. And we ended up having 178 subjects, and this is all over the wire. 178 subjects. I was up on 4 different lines, but I had to narrow it down. And the DA that I was working with, she's like, "We're not taking down 178 people." It's not happening. So I'm like, okay, how many do you want to take down? She's like, well, let's see who is the heavy hitters, who's gonna actually stay in jail. Those are gonna be the people that we need to take. And still, I believe it was 32 people. It was 32 or 38, I forget, but it was over 30 people, which is wild.
That's awesome.
One night, it was a wild night. But yeah, small world. I'm sure maybe we did cross paths, and
we probably did at some point. I was teaching out at the academy on Wednesday nights for probably almost most of that 3 years too. So.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Well, Tony, thank you for your service.
Thank you. Yeah, you too.
Very much appreciated. And Mitch, let's hear about your career. You were the Army, the Marines, and then to the Army.
Yeah. Yep. So you like Tony? It was going to happen. I was going to go in the military. Like I said, both my parents were in the military. I was a 6th generation. So, it was go hard. So I went in the Marine Corps first. So spent some time with infantry and then switched over to a canine handler. After that, I got out. I was out for about 2 years trying to find myself again, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Like I said, I knew I wanted to be in the outdoors, but I was still trying to figure out what part of the outdoors I wanted to be in. Then Iraq war kicked off. So I was like, nope, got to go back in. So I went back in, spent a little bit of time like Tony, bounced around. I was on the trail, as a drill sergeant, did some stuff, and then switched over to special operations also, and spent my last couple of years with the United States Army's JFK Special Warfare Center and School. And that's where I retired out of. A little over 20 years spent in.
Oh, wow. Wow. And Mitch, thank you. Thank you for your service as well.
Oh, thank you, Robert.
Thank you. So you guys definitely have a lot of experience. That's for sure. A lot of experience. But you know what? With what you're doing with both of your missions, it brings a lot of value to the people that are going to come and be part of those missions. And it'll definitely help. And it's great. I mean, you guys are giving people a different outlet, right? And that's what's important. And that's what a lot of people need, especially in the military. I'm not sure if you guys have joined Clubhouse yet. Are either of you on there or no?
No.
Do you have iPhones?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the only way you could get on right now. So I can message you guys an invite. I'll send it through Instagram to get you guys on there. But Clubhouse is excellent for networking, and basically what it is, it's like an open mic radio show, and they have all these different rooms, and you jump on, and there's so many military people on there, so many, it's flooded, and I'm always jumping on these different channels just to learn because even though my grandfather and my grandmother were military, I'm not really a military family. And so I didn't know the military background, the military lingo so much. And I still don't. I mean, it's different, unless you lived it, just like with us, unless you lived it, you'll never fully understand it. But at least I want to be able to hold those conversations. So my dogs, of course, they need to bark at me. So what's great about Clubhouse is it allows you to connect with these different people across country, and especially in the military network, you guys absolutely will find people that will benefit from your programs. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'll send you those invites on
yeah, that'd be awesome.
because it's a great thing to do, and definitely you get on there and you just talk and you learn different things. But there are a lot of people on there that claim to be things that they're not. So just be aware.
Oh yeah.
just be aware of that. And I'm not going to oust anybody right now, but there's a lot of people, a lot.
I'm sure.
So this is good. So for the future, how do you guys see yourselves really collaborating with one another, with the Heroes Harvest nonprofit and Hunt to Eat? How do you guys see yourselves maybe doing more for the veteran community and branching out and extending these programs?
Mitch, you want to go first?
Yeah. So the biggest thing right now is obviously we're pretty, as far as Heroes Harvest, we're pretty new. We're certified through the state of Colorado, but we're about 6 months old right now on paper. So our biggest thing is getting out there and doing more events for the veterans. And I think that's where like Hunt to Eat comes in a lot for us, is the network that Hunt to Eat has and everything to reach out to those veterans. Because me and Tony were talking a while back, and the questions always asked, what's this nonprofit for veterans different from any other nonprofit from veterans, because there's so many out there, and they're right, there is. I think when I looked, there was any Google search said from 7,000 to 45,000 registered nonprofits for veterans in the United States. And the way I tell people is I break it down like this: is there's 20 million veterans in the United States right now. There's right around 3 million serving in some aspect, as whether it's National Guard, Reserve, or active duty. So you're looking at 23 million service members that are registered, I guess you could say, or that are in the United States. And let's just ballpark and say there's 50,000 nonprofits for veterans, right? So we do the math real quick. That means that every nonprofit has to service 460-ish veterans or service members a year. Right now we're doing, I don't know what, Tony, 20 this year out of the 460.
Yeah.
Like that.
Maybe a little bit more than that, give or take, but yeah.
Yeah. So the future is we got to get bigger. We got to do more stuff. We got to get the word out there, just so we can attempt to meet, I guess, my goal of that 460 a year, to make sure that anybody that does need us, needs that help, that we can get to them.
Well, that's great. I'm confident. I think you guys are going to reach that. You definitely reach that. And listen, it's establishing that brand and getting the right type of recognition out there.
Right.
And especially with the right mission and the right drive behind it, because a lot of people, whatever they're starting, if you're in it for the wrong reasons, you're never going to succeed. You have to have that passion, that drive, and that willpower to really do something good, for whatever it is in your life.
Right.
And with Heroes Harvest, I think this is great. I think this is definitely something really interesting. I think this is something that we could speak with you about with Fund the First down the line, definitely. And
That'd be
listen,
awesome.
we're very young too, just so you know. We only started this past July.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it took a couple of years to develop.
Yeah.
But we launched this past July, but right out the box, we branded right away. We're like,
Yeah.
I said to myself, I'm like, I'm getting on Fox and Friends within a week of launching. It's happening. And it happened. It happened.
Really?
I messaged Brian Kilmeade directly. I said, you need to put us on the show. And he got us on.
That's awesome.
He got us on. But then from there, we've been in the media over 100 times.
Yeah.
So it's all about just trying. And what you're doing, it doesn't hurt to reach out to every single news network that there is,
Right.
and just berate them. Say, hey, this is what we're doing. Seriously, because eventually they're going to bite.
Right.
Yeah.
They're just going to cave, and they're just going to say, oh, okay, we'll do it.
I think I'm lucky, to have Tony, because like Tony's the bulldog, right now. He's doing his hunt to eat thing, but he's doing a lot for Heroes Harvest too, and he's a bulldog out there just hammering people and businesses and sponsors and everything, which is awesome, and yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know, Tony, we send how many emails a week and phone calls, and we're told no 90% of the time, but it's that 10% that's going to make the difference.
Yeah.
Everything's short of busting kneecaps.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt. And definitely, listen, LinkedIn is your best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. LinkedIn is the best thing you could get on, the networking that you could pull on there, because it builds a little bit more of a trust factor on LinkedIn as well.
Right.
Which is great, because listen, no one's getting verified badges anymore on Instagram and these things. And, they're shutting down the algorithms, and especially, it's really unfortunate what's going on. And I'm not sure if it's affecting or if you've noticed it yet, but a lot of first responder military owned businesses and nonprofits, they're being blacklisted.
Yeah.
And if they're advertising anywhere, it's not being shown. So it's unfortunate, but that's why we have to establish networks with what we're doing right now. And
Right.
that's why I wanted to bring you guys on the show. So there's people that are in our network that will hear what you guys are speaking about. And then also when you guys share it, your networks will say, oh, wow, you got on that show. That's great. Oh, wow, this is something I didn't know about what you guys are doing. You know, so it's really good. So Tony, what about you? What do you think? What's in the future for this?
Well, kind of like you talked about, building those networks is probably the most important piece there. Because I'm sure you've heard there's a lot of organizations out there supporting veterans. Like Mitch said, there's close to 20 million veterans right now. And one of the first questions I got when I started hitting people up, like, hey, we're starting this thing up, was like, why the hell are you going to do that? Like Mitch said, there's hundreds and thousands of organizations out there that are already doing the same thing. What makes yours different? And there's 20 million veterans. And of course, not all of them are going to be interested in what we're doing. But if we could help one, we could help one, it's that makes a difference in their life. And because I'm sure you've heard there's like 22 veterans that die of suicide every day. Yeah. And I was kind of surprised when I started doing the research, like according to the VA, like over 50% of those veterans are over the age of 55. And just building these local networks. So like the camp we're hosting out in Idaho. It's mostly local guys, like Western Washington, Idaho. So it's building that local community, guys, to kind of support each other. So if we can reach, if we can help one guy out, that's going to help him make the decision to to not commit suicide or help him better his life, whether it's PTSD or depression or whatever he's battling, or even just getting connected. Like when I left, when I got out, I went straight to NYPD pretty much. And so it's very similar, very similar to the military, very similar mindset to the guys I was working with. But then when I left NYPD, is like, holy shit, now I'm just around a bunch of corporate dudes that I don't really get. I don't really fit into the whole corporate mindset. And so I was really struggling after that. And it was like, and then a buddy of mine called and said, hey man, we need to, you want to go out on this hunt with me to Hawaii? And I'm like, who the hell goes hunting in Hawaii? But
That's
then it kind of,
strange. Yeah. What are you hunting, fish?
No. So we went out to hunt access deer and mouflon sheep. And that really kind of got me back into it, because it really made a difference in my mindset and just, I guess just overall, mental health really.
Let's hear about that trip for a moment. I got to know about what, I didn't even know there was sheep in Hawaii. So let's
yeah, like what the hell are we going to hunt in Hawaii? But so we went out. So my buddy that I went with, I met him on my last deployment. He's an analyst, and then he called me up and said, hey man, I hunted Hawaii last year and planned another trip. You want to go? I'm like, hell yeah. But what the hell are we hunting in Hawaii? And so we went out to Maui, and we did one day in really high elevations, 1 day of Spanish goat, hunting Spanish goat on Maui. And they're a lot smaller than I had thought, that I anticipated. So I was like, I don't want to shoot that. It looks like something just walked off of somebody's like farm. What the hell am I going to do with that thing? And then we went out to Lanai, which is right next to Maui, and it's overrun with access deer and mouflon sheep, and it's a beautiful island. I mean, most of it, it's a pretty small town that's on Lanai, but some great hunting there. And so we went out and spent a week out there chasing deer and mouflon sheep.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. That's really incredible. Listen, next time you go there, call me.
Yeah, I definitely want to go back out there. But yeah, so that kind of got me back into the hunting world. And like I said, it helped me out tremendously. So I know if it helped me, there's a lot of other veterans out there that are going to benefit from the same thing.
No, you're so right. And especially, listen, people that are suffering from, depression, anxiety, stress, whatever it may be, panic attacks, whatever, anything, you need an outlet. And an outlet like that in the wilderness, it's like, you're just out there, you're enjoying life and you're not worrying about anything.
Yep.
You don't have an electronic in front of you. We're all glued to these electronics. You're not worrying about your family. You're just out there. You're enjoying the wilderness and putting your eye between that scope and you're looking.
Yeah.
You're looking. So no, this is great. You guys are really doing great. Great things. Absolutely great things. I love it. Absolutely love it. So let me ask you guys something. So because this is the Heroes First podcast, I do have a couple of questions that I like to ask everybody. And I actually like that I have you both on the show, because with one of the questions, I'm going to ask you to say the answer at the same time and then describe it. So I just kind of want to see how that comes out. It's a test. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. And it's got to be the first thing that comes to your mind, but I'm not going to ask it yet. So, and it's not a bad question. It's just, I just want to see what people say. But with your careers, and whoever wants to answer first, I guess, Mitch, maybe I'll let you answer first.
Okay.
Everything you've done, and you've led a great life, and Tony, you as well. So with your careers, would you do it all again? If you were to start over from scratch, would you take the same path and do it all again?
No doubt. It's funny because my wife asked me that same question after my retirement ceremony. And she was like, hey, would you, looking back now at everything, would you do it again? Would you enlist? Would you? No doubt. No question in my mind. Would I have done some of the things different throughout the career and some of the decisions I made? Sure. But, I grew up in a family that said, no regrets on anything. So there's no doubt that I would enlist. I would serve the 20 years. And I would continue on the same path I am with the outdoors. Like I said, there's some things I probably would have changed throughout. But end state, from beginning to end state, no change.
That's great. That's great. What about you, Tony?
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. And like Mitch said, there's probably a couple of things I might do differently, but I would absolutely do it all over again. Yeah, I enjoyed my time in the service, and yeah, I mean, I kind of feel that's what I was meant to do.
Yeah.
And like I said, when I got out, I kind of had that lack of like, what the hell am I going to do now? I really don't have a purpose, but like I said, putting this program together kind of gives me another purpose again, and help veterans to realize the same thing, that there's more out there outside of the military.
Yeah, and that's something that a lot of people, they tend not to realize. They stay on the path of their military or first responder career, medical professional career, and then they retire. Then they're like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
You run into that rut where you're like, what do you do now? And you haven't prepared yourself for maybe the business world or something else in life. And you end up doing what? You get a security gig somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's like, and then you stand there and you're like, why the hell am I doing this?
Yeah.
And you're looking around, and it's like, but that happens to many people. So the direction you guys are taking is absolutely excellent. It's great. So before I ask the last question, I'll ask this question because it's important. I love this type of question. So Tony, I'll go back to you first. So Tony, what does a hero mean to you?
A hero. I think a hero is anyone who serves, I guess, selfless service. If you boil it down to one word, like selfless service, whether it's law enforcement or military. Obviously, in the military, you're giving up your life to pretty much serve your country. And I'm not giving your life, although there's a lot of that have sacrificed their lives in service of their country. And in law enforcement, serving your community. So you're putting the community ahead of your own personal interests and oftentimes your own family. So I guess boil it down to one word: selfless service.
Perfect. Mitch?
Yeah, I think Tony stole the answer there.
Yeah.
That is like selfless service. That's the big thing, and putting everybody in front of you, and I think, it doesn't have to be, I think we look at heroes, and especially in the military, we look at it like one act, one incident, one active thing, and one person is a hero for that one thing. But I think, when you look at it as a selfless service way, you have to look at it as, it's over time what that person has done morally, ethically, for their, community, family, everybody they touch and, and come in touch with. I think that's probably more of what a hero is than just a one act jack.
No, absolutely. So many different meanings. Everyone has a different meaning, and it's always inspiring to hear what everyone says for what a hero is. So the last question before we end the show, and it's been an absolute pleasure to have you guys on. And I'm going to ask you guys to both spit out your answer at the same time. And then, so spit it out at the same time, but then afterwards, explain why you said what you said. So if you were to have one superpower, what would it be?
Healing.
Healing?
Yeah.
Okay. Mitch, you didn't spit it out. What happened?
Oh, man, I know. I had to think about it. Jeez, there's so many. Tony was quick on that one.
He was really quick. He read the questions beforehand. That's why. He knew it.
Yeah.
He knew it was
I
coming.
kind of knew it was coming. I've listened to the. I think I've listened to all the podcasts now.
Oh, you did? Oh, good. Thank you. Good. There we go.
I've been down in Florida for the last hunting, so I haven't had much time to catch up on anything.
Mitch has been out dragging around in the swamps here last week.
Yeah.
So Mitch, what's the superpower? Let's hear it. What's the first thing that popped into the head? There's got to be something.
God, it was like invincibility. So kind of like
that's
that was the first thing that kind of popped in.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
So, but healing. If you have healing, do you live forever?
Yeah.
I mean, like the ability to like heal other people, and I'm not talking about like the pastors like whack you in the forehead and you fall on the floor and you're healed.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like legitimate like healing.
No, that's good. I like that. I like that. That's really good. That's really good. No, but listen, Tony, Mitch, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you guys on the show. If you guys just want to share with the listeners really quick where to find your both of your websites and how to contact you guys, go right ahead.
Yeah, sure. So for Hunt to Eat, you can really just go to hunttoeat.com, and my email is on there, but it's Tony@hunttoeat.com. Pretty easy. And just shoot me an email. I can I think my phone number's on there as well. But yeah, feel free to reach out and be happy to help.
Great. Mitch?
Yeah, so our website is www.heroesharvest.org. Get on the website. We have a lot of events that are on there right now. They're still open for registration. We got another fishing trip coming up here in North Carolina. We got the Colorado archery elk hunt in September. We got the Colorado black bear hunt. We got some other stuff that's being, put together and everything. So, get on there. If you are a service member, don't care how you served, what type of serve, just get on there, register for it for a chance to go on a hunt with us and get out there.
Great. Awesome. So it was an absolute pleasure. Tony, Mitch, thank you so much. Thank you all for listening to episode 13 of Heroes First podcast with our special guests, Tony and Mitch from Hunt to Eat and Heroes Harvest. We'll see you all next time. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Robert.
You've been listening to the Heroes First podcast with Robert Garland. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from the show. Make sure to like, rate, share, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, make sure to visit fundthefirst.com and follow us on social media at fundthefirst. See you next time.